JJ the CPA here. Variable costs. So we've talked about cost of goods sold, we've talked about fixed costs, but what are variable costs? You know, I mean, a lot of times though, cost of goods sold would be variable costs, right? The more that you have of something, more sales that you're gonna have, the more variable costs that you could have. That's kind of the key to a variable cost, right? Like, what's the variable that's causing that number to go up? Well, variable costs aren't always cost of goods sold. Variable costs can be tied to fixed costs. So even though we've talked about variable costs and it being part of cost of goods sold, no one talks about that one aspect of your fixed costs, which is the variable costs that climb right on top of and latch onto your fixed costs to become a fixed cost. Now, what am I even talking about here? Think of this. You expand your business, therefore you need more space. So even though rent is a fixed cost, it can be variable, right? You might be increasing your fixed cost, which means that it varies. How does it vary? It varies based on the size that you need. So variable costs don't have to change every day, every week, every month, or even every year. But it's just another way to think about variable costs and how it affects your fixed costs, right? If you bring on more employees, it's not just their payroll that's going to increase, right? Of course, you'd be like, well, that seems like an obvious, right? Payroll is going to go up, but think of the other variable costs that go up with it. Payroll tax, additional benefits, more insurance is required. So when you're increasing your fixed costs, are there variable costs that go along with it? Meaning the more that you have a fixed cost, pick one item, the more that you have of that fixed cost, does it drive up other costs with it? So variable being the more that you have of a fixed cost, does it lead to the more that you have of other fixed costs? Because a lot of times when business owners are thinking through and they're penciling out, hey, do we need to hire somebody new? Like, well, I got to pay, $15 an hour, 15 times 2,080. Like, okay, but you have to consider, I need 7.65% for FICA taxes. And how much are the benefits? 3% for a match. Is there a little bit more for insurance or work comp insurance, et cetera? Right? So it's almost, well, it's not $15 an hour. It's $15 an hour plus another 10, 12%. Well, need more employees? Do you need more space? See what I'm saying? So anyways, it's just a different way to think about variable cost, that one figure that just kind of latches on to the fixed cost. And that's where a lot of times with business owners, you're moving 100 miles an hour. They're like, okay, I got to move here. Here's the rent. But you got to think through what else goes with those expenses. All right. Hey, listen, I'd love it if you subscribe. I need you to subscribe. Anyways, I'm having fun. And here is just another example of the simplicity of numbers. All right. Hey, I want you to remember one thing. All right. You're awesome. All right. JJ the CPA out.